If George Washington were alive today, he'd be friends with Adolf Hitler. No, don't get me, this is not my language. These are the words of James Wheeler Hill at an American Nazi rally in the heart of the most Jewish city in North America, New York City. The US government could have stopped this, but what would they do? Nothing illegal was happening, and the rally was protected under the First Amendment. The rally itself was a product of the German American Bund, the closest thing the US ever had to a full-on Nazi party. This was not some type of fringe or underground organization either. It managed to pack out Madison Square Garden full with 20,000 cheering Americans just months before World War II. So first, no, the American Nazi Party wasn't originally called that. The big pre-World War II group was the German American Bund. And no, they weren't marching around knocking on doors, rounding up undesirables like in Germany. At least not yet. Instead, picture a mix of like Immigrant Pride Club and fascist cosplay. And just like their genocidal role models in Germany, the Bund Party formed American Hitler Youth programs for things like re-education, book burnings, and even parades with literal children marching in homemade Hitler Youth uniforms. And like I said, this wasn't fringe. The party had active members in every single state, except Louisiana for some reason. But there's more. The party even had their own American Hitler, Fritz Kuhn, the American Führer. A self-imposed title, of course. Though he lacked the iconic mustache, he was convinced his party would help purify America of Jewish-controlled press, claimed that Jesus Christ was actually not a Jew, and was highly critical of President Franklin D. Roosevelt and his Jew deal. Yeah, I know. Maybe the strangest bit of this, though, is that it was all out in the open. The American Nazis did not have some sort of hidden agenda.
First, a social just white Gentile ruled United States. Gentile-controlled labor union, free from Jewish Moscow-directed domination.
Kuhn openly praised Hitler. Parents sent their children to Hitler Youth programs. Newspapers made the party public knowledge. But folks kind of just let it happen for a while. If you watch any of my Nazi Germany videos, you know this really isn't shocking. Even after Americans knew of the plight of the European Jew, they weren't quick to even protest until they were directly told of the Nazi extermination plan in 1942. Americans didn't want to be heroes for any foreigners. Lingering internal American anti-Semitism combined with the effects of the Great Depression, ultimately leading to inaction. And this inaction was crucial to the success of the Bund Party, and this unbelievable scene that looks like something out of like an alternate history movie. By 1938, the American Nazis had an estimated 20,000 members, but needed a massive show of power, something very flashy, something very public, something that will force the world to take them seriously. Just like today though, renting out Madison Square Garden was a massive statement. One problem though, you need a permit. This threw a major monkey wrench into their plans. No, I'm just kidding. They got the permit really easily actually. Kinda scary. New York City officials treated it like it was any other political event. And the American Nazis went all out. For every massive American flag, a massive swastika. Music and speeches designed to make Nazism feel patriotic, but intertwined also with American pride. And to cap it all off, a giant image of George Washington seemingly defended by American flags that are seemingly defended by swastikas. They wanted Americans to translate fascism from the foreign sector to the domestic. They wanted Nazism attached to the American identity. And yes, I know this sounds ridiculous, but you will not believe what actually took place once the rally kicked off. It's February 20th, 1939, the day of the rally. People line up around the block, and inside the crowds chant in unison. The press is all over the place, and up steps James Wheeler Hill. Just kidding. First, this lady sings the national anthem of all things. Then up steps Wheeler Hill, who makes the claim of Washington and Hitler being buddies had they existed simultaneously. Several other high-ranking members speak, making various claims about the, quote, Jew world domination, America being returned to its Christian founders, and the fight against the international Jewry. Modeled after Hitler's high energy and charisma on stage, these speeches were energetic, getting the crowd rowdy as American citizens chanted, "Free America," and sang the chorus to that one Kanye West song. Ye. And then, here comes Fritz Kuhn. He smiles, he waves, and without skipping a beat, he spends the next 20 minutes going after Jewish-controlled media, President Roosevelt, District Attorney Thomas Dewey, who became Thomas Jewy, the job-taking Jewish refugees, Mayor Fiorella LaGuardia, who Kuhn labeled Jew Lumpen LaGuardia, and the, quote, slimy conspirators who would change this glorious republic into the inferno of a Bolshevik paradise. Without even taking a breath, he literally said he wants to, quote, free America from Jewish influence, which isn't saying he wants to kill Jews, but when your model for behavior is literal Hitler, and you see what I'm saying? And remember, this is New York City in 1939. 1/4 of the city is Jewish. I know what you're thinking. There were obviously dissenters, so why didn't somebody stop this? Well, one 26-year-old Jew tried. Isidor Greenbaum, who had recently fled Europe due to Jewish persecution, only attended the rally to hear what the American Nazis thought of his people. But seeing swastikas everywhere and hearing open emotional praise for Adolf Hitler, he couldn't help but rush the stage directly at Kuhn. Before he could get close though, the Ordnungsdienst, the Bund paramilitary, quickly tackled him, brutally beating him, kicking his head and ribs and dragging him across the stage as the now bloodthirsty crowd cheered hysterically. Kuhn finishes his speech with an invitation to join the American Nazi Party, and Greenbaum is arrested and taken away to be charged with disorderly conduct. What started in 1936 as a follow-up to the first American Nazi Party, called the Friends of New Germany, the German American Bund had gotten out of hand, but even after the massive rally, the momentum would come to a screeching and rather boneheaded halt. So what finally ended the American Nazi movement? Take a guess. Was it A, public outrage, B, federal power, C, moral clarity amid World War II, or D, the mystery box? Take a guess. It was tax fraud, something all of us can relate to. Yes, the American Führer mismanaged his money, took funds for himself, and got caught. From there, he was placed behind bars for his extremism. Just kidding, they got him on embezzlement and tax evasion charges. Once World War II started later that year, the US government cracked down even harder. The Bund collapsed almost overnight, and was virtually dead by 1941. And suddenly the proud, hysterical crowd you see in these clips had disappeared. Hey man, weren't you, Nah. There's this American disconnect from the familiarity with Nazi ideology in our not so far away past. The US didn't become fascist, but we got close enough that 20,000 people spent a night cheering for Hitler inside of one of America's biggest and most iconic venues. History is not linear, and the ugliest evils are almost always cold and calculated, not sporadic and emotional, although they always require regular people to stand around and watch, or in this case, cheer. If you learned something, drop me a like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching as always.